Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. Hey, it's Lucas Scrobot, and you're listening to Weaver and Loom. There's a great proverb that says, befriend the wise and you will become wise. But if you're friends with fools, you'll suffer harm. And it's true. If you are around idiots, if you're around people who choose to live their life in foolish ways, you are going to suffer harm. But if you surround yourself and you befriend people who are smarter than you, who are wiser than you, who have the things that you want but you don't have, you will gain their wisdom and begin to think like they think, and you will become wise as well. There's a popular saying, which is you are the sum average of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with, of your closest 5. And it is dead out true. It's true. You will become the average of the people that you surround yourself with. Why? Because the thing that enables us to achieve anything, it's not where we were born, the family we were born into. It's not even our network or our net worth. It is the small handful of people, the 5 people, the 7 people that we surround ourselves with. It is the culture, the environment that we place ourselves in that allows us to grow. My wife and we have gotten into plants recently. I grew up gardening. My mom went to horticulture school. I loved gardening. When I was a kid, I grew up, I had my own garden. When we lived in Oman, we had this big plot of sand in our yard full of glass bottles and rusted nails and concrete. And I remember one fall, it took about 2-3 months, and I cleared the whole thing out. I leveled it, I fertilized it, and I planted seed, and I grew grass. But I had to fertilize the soil. I had to clean out the shards of glass, the rusted nails, the blocks of concrete that was in the field. And then I had to surround it. I had to fertilize it with good soil to then plant that seed in. And the problem is, so many of us are reading books, or listening to podcasts like this, or watching YouTube, and are planting those seeds in our mind, in our life, and we're expecting them to grow great fruit. We're expecting our lives to begin to look like that book or that person or that podcast that we're listening to, the seeds that we're planting. But we forget to first clear out the rubbish and the junk in our lives. And oftentimes that's clearing out the environment that we're in, because we become the environment that we are surrounded by. Because we become the culture that we live in. So if you want the fastest way to changing the macro direction of your life, to changing the end point of your life, begin to change the people that you hang out with. Now, this is harder than it sounds. I know there's a lot of relationships that are built in, whether it's a family member or a friend that you've had for 20 years. But it requires us to be intentional to say, I am not going to hang out with this individual because they are toxic. They are rusted nails in my field. They are broken glass. They are blocks of concrete. We have to remove those from our lives and then replace it with fertilizer. We need to replace that negativity. We need to replace those toxic people, those fools, stupid people who are leading us to harm, that are leading us to passivity, that are leading us to the third law of thermodynamics, which you talked a few episodes back of leading us to mediocrity, to being average, normal, dimming us down from order to chaos, moving us from from being something that's notable to being average and just like everyone else. We need to remove those things from our life. And instead, we need to replace that with strong, cultured people in areas that we want to grow in. So, one great way to do this and to recognize, well, who should I add? Well, who are you jealous of? When you look around, you say, man, I am so jealous of that person because fill in the blank, whether it's because they have great sense of style and fashion. I'm so jealous of them. You know what? If you were to befriend them, you would begin to see the world like they do, to think like they do, and your environment would change. And because of that, you would be able to grow in their soil. If you struggle with finances, remove people who also struggle with finances, all those people that you're bemoaning with about how you can't get a job, how your finances are horrible, how the system's set against you, how it's the government's fault, the government's not taking care of economy. Newsflash, it is men and women who build businesses that empower other people, that lifts people out of the economic hardships. And you're a man or you're a woman. It is your responsibility. Yes, governmental legislations can help or hurt that in dramatic ways. But at the end of the day, it is on us. So remove that negative thinking, that poverty victim mentality, and instead find people who have figured out how to crush their finances, how to be successful financially, and surround yourself with them. And before you know it, you'll be thinking like them and you'll be able to grow in that environment. The seeds that you plant in your mind will now be able to grow because it's fertilized with the environment of those people. So that's the challenge today. It is show me your friends and I will show you your future. And one of the greatest ways you can own your future is by changing your friend group. It is changing the environment that you live in. And as we do that, as we change the environment that we live in, all those things that we listen to, all those things that we read, those seeds that we plant will be able to actually bear fruit because it's being planted in different soil, because it's being planted in a different environment. As I said about gardening earlier, even some of the plants that we've planted in our home, they didn't grow well. Why? Because the soil that we planted it in wasn't suitable for that plant. We had to uproot the plant, change the soil, and replant it in good soil at a place with the correct amount of sunlight. We had to change the environment for the plant to be able to thrive. You are a plant. You are growing. And what is the soil that you're planted in? If you want to bear different fruit, if you want to have a different future than what you're having now, if you don't like the direction that you're on now, instead of trying to fix yourself, the best and fastest way to transform your life is by removing yourself from bad soil in a poor environment and placing yourself and surrounding yourself in healthy soil, in a healthy environment where you can thrive. Thank you for listening to this episode of Weaver and Loom. If you have any questions, please, I would love to hear them. You can send them to me via my website, lucasgrobot.com, and click the appropriate button. Also, if you found this episode or any other episode impactful or helpful to you, share it with a friend. Be a person that begins to build and organize community around yourself, that begins to empower other people around you, because that is how society and how culture moves forward, through people like you organizing other people around you so that they can achieve their dreams as well. So share it with a friend. They will feel loved and blessed by you sharing it with them, and I will feel loved and blessed too. And as always, thank you. I'm Lucas Grobot, and you're listening to Weaver and Loom, where destiny is woven.